Sup, everyone, my name is Ryu for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Council. Today I'm bringing you the top 10 meta decks of February 2016 going into this whole adjusted ban list. So, 7 of these are typically seen on top tables, have actually gone out there, and the other 3 are just pretty much what I think have the most potential if we're going to do a 10. And if I did a 5, it just wouldn't feel right. So, we're going to start with number 10, which is going to be Magi Specters. Now, Magi Specters are crazy good in recent light. Now, they're still outshined by the obvious Monarchs, Cosmo, Burning Abyss, and Mermails, and Draco Pals. But hey, Magi Specters are still great. They can be combined with Draco Pals. They can be combined with Magicians. They can be just by themselves. And they have massive search power. If you've never played Magi Specters, they're basically like Teller Knights, but pendulum base and lots of searching. So pretty easy to understand why I have them at number 10, because they're just kind of outclassed by everything else. My number 9 pick, I was about to jump ships here, is Teller Knights. Now, most people don't tend to talk about Teller Knights on their meta lists or just decks at all. And honestly, they're really underrated, and everyone goes, but the Cosmo matchup. You don't jump over the Cosmos, you make a trivia, and you just ram in the face, or you use, I want to say Air Force in Japan, the Storming Mirror Force, where you bounce it back to your opponent's hand. That's how you get over that matchup. And honestly, these guys are fairly cheap still, too. So if you got a good enough budget, but Ryu, Cyber Dragon Infinity's not there anymore. It's okay, you don't need Cyber Dragon Infinity. They have Trivia. Trivia just bounces everything. Or they have Delta Rose, which destroys stuff. They have great rank 4 access across the board. And hey, guess what we were talking about on Tech Tuesday yesterday? I'm not, again, if this comes out on Thursday or Friday, then on Tuesday, because I'm actually recording it on Wednesday. Utopia the Lightning. Who makes rank 4 is better than Teller Knights? Now, I'll give you this much. Teller Knights is kind of stale when it comes to playstyle, because, like, Magi Specter's giant background, you may not be into that. But if you are, it's a perfect deck for you, because your opponent's going to play through a lot of your background, kind of like how we always talk about your Senju, and we take it from there. Sorry about all the Facebook messages. My younger brother's been messaging me. So, number 8, Raid Raptors. Again, another deck that I typically don't see on anyone's top 10 in recent lists is Raid Raptors. And these guys are amazing. They have their own fucking version of freaking, Towers. They can go Cyber Dragon Infinity with one card. People underrate Raid Raptors quite a bit because they don't OTK right away. They take time to set up. Oh my god. But it doesn't take much time to set up because their turn 1 plays are so strong that they are deck thinning by 5 cards a turn. Guess what other deck does that? Monarchs. Raid Raptors are one of the best decks out there right now. And yes, they come out of Wing Raiders. And yes, in the next set, they will be getting even more support. They're going to get that giant spider. There's going to be a deck profile of Raid Raptors on here on the channel once I'm caught up in the next couple of days, because I've been behind on top 10s too. So I'm trying to just get caught up for you guys. Just be patient, it's coming. I just finished the Blue Eye stuff today, so that's going into recording tonight. And then I'm just going to deliver Raid Raptors and Phantom Knights and a new Super Quantum Mega Monarch build. But again, different topic for a different time. But Raid Raptors are amazing. And the fact that no one ever includes them into their top 10, just like Teller Knights and Magi Specters, it's honestly just a letdown. It really is. My number 7 pick, and the reason this is actually higher than the other 3 is because this has actually topped. I'm also counting Europe and Canada. Oh my god, that's insane. Infernoid. I've been always talking about Infernoid, about how it has good matchups across the board, or just in general how they can disrupt the opponent. And that still stands. It's still an amazing deck that people don't take a light to and like, oh my god, Infernoids are just reasoning or die. No, there's so much more to Infernoids. They are super duper heavy combo deck. They have Deltatron, they have Reasoning, they have Charger Light Brigade, they have Raiden, they have Card Trooper if they want to run Card Trooper. Hell, they have Curry Bandit if they want to run Curry Bandit. There's multiple ways of running the deck. You're not just stuck in this one little plateau that says, you have to run it this way. Infernoids have a lot of flexibility that people don't typically look at, when you look at a new deck, because it's not a deck that you could just pick up and run with. And I'm not trying to insult any meta players, but Cosmos and Monarchs are pretty damn simple compared to something like Infernoid, which is a little more complicated because you have to understand the complexity of later down the line of your resources. Where with Monarchs and Cosmos, your resources just keep coming back to you. I'm not trying to insult anyone, I'm not trying to put anyone down or belittle you. It's just I'm trying to explain Infernoids to people who may not have paid attention to Infernoids, so there's that. My number 6 spot is going to go to Magicians. I know I love Magicians, and maybe I am a little bit biased about the way I like Magicians, but honestly, they didn't get badly hit by the list. And you can replace those 2 Jokers with Summoner's Art or Lure of Darkness, just something to get that extra search going. The ability to drop Mist Valley Apex Avion, the ability to use Magispectors and Giant Back Row, the flexibility across builds across the board, makes them one of the best decks of this entire format. And yes, they are topping still, just not in the amount of numbers as Monarchs and Cosmos and Burning Abyss, because they're not as good, I'll give you that much, but they were still amazing, they're still in the cut of the top 10. So that's why I'm putting them at number 6. Number 5. This is the remains of Pepe, and it's called Draco Pals. And honestly, when the deck goes off, it's explosive. And it's ridiculous how good it is. Now, I haven't done the deck profile on it because I typically don't want to, but I've seen the deck in action. And if it goes off just like Monarchs, it can compete. And it's been topping quite a little bit from what I've been hearing. But Draco Pals is something still to be a force to be reckoned with. It's basically like from the ashes of Pepe. And it's, if you remember Pepe, it's not as dumb as Pepe, but it is up there in the tier list. So I'm putting it at number 5 only because it's outshined by number 4 and onward. The big 4. Mermail. A deck that can OTK you like a giant glass cannon. A deck that has the flexibility to abuse the shit out of Atlantean Dragoons over and over again. The ability to recycle its own monsters. The ability and flexibility between builds makes this a deck that you're not just going to be able to say, this is how I deal with the deck. You have to adjust to the style of Mermail. If there's ever a deck that is a water deck that embraces the style of the ocean itself, is Mermail, because they constantly change their pace. They constantly can adapt, and that's what's been keeping them so relevant over the past couple of years since they were introduced. Mermail are probably, if not one of the best, given you got to learn your combos, but it is pretty much one of the best, if not top 5 decks of the entire format right now. And if you haven't looked at Mermails, you should be looking at them. Just saying, should be looking at them. But just like number 3, which we're going to move on to in a sec, they're super duper freaking good because it's just going to come out there. They're going to wreck your shit if you're not ready. Number 3, and this deck has been meta relevant for 2 years, Burning Abyss. Oh, but Ryu, it was hit over and over again, but the deck is still topping. And with the new introduction of Phantom Knights from Wing Raiders, it makes the deck even more explosive. Now, you're not mandatory stuck on needing to run Phantom Knights. You could just run the typical Burning Abyss engine. It has been limited, but the ability to use a giant back row system to shut out your opponent is going to win you games dramatically. The recyclability that Dante brings to the table, the ability to constantly make new rank 3s, and remember on Tech Tuesday about last week, we talked about the Phantom Knight Exceed. They get use out of that too. Out of all the meta decks outside of probably Monarchs, they get the best use out of Wing Raiders because they're getting the most support, they're getting the most love from that set. Burning Abyss are a deck that, just like Mermail, have adapted over the past 2 years. Regardless of limitations or how many times it was hit, they constantly adapt, they evolve, and they come back. Number 2, Cosmo. Cosmo, or mainly number 2, because Monarch is the deck to beat right now. It's now, given that different events, different decks are going to top because there's a lot of skill in this format, and I know that's hard to take in, but it's true. Cosmos are pretty simple in design. They're going to swing at you, they're going to ram at you, they're going to drop Dark Destroyer, and they're going to just OTK you. That's a deck in a nutshell. It just doesn't even need an extra deck. It just runs you over. And if it's able to run you over, it's G freaking G. It's simple. It's not hard. It's not complex. The deck is a cross between Star Wars and the Wizard of Oz. It's not hard at all to pick up, and I'm not trying to insult anyone who plays Cosmos. I'm not a fan of the deck because of the style of the deck. Because all it does is just ram you for damage. Now you can bring back your recycle. You can recycle your banished out monsters. You basically have floater.deck, kind of like Ying Zing. If you think of it that way, if you've never seen Cosmos in action, they're kind of like Ying Zings, where they can banish them. Well, in this case, instead of being sent to the graveyard, they banish themselves out, and you get another. You get another one. You get like a giant ship, and then the ship has an effect, and then it blows shit up, and well, you take it from there. So I'm not going to say too much about Cosmos, but number 2 is Cosmos. Number 1 is Monarchs. Monarchs have proven themselves time and time again during this format, even though they may seem extremely simple to side against. Obviously, they're still pretty much the deck to beat. Given that all these decks can compete, regionals, YCS, just meta in general, Monarchs are the deck to beat right now. When you think about the past couple of years of Yu-Gi-Oh!, you would think Pendulum or Special Summoning would take the lead in the charge. Monarchs, being tribute monsters, have taken that charge. Using the Super Quantum Engine, they're able to adapt into a new form that makes the deck even more consistent than it's been. And yes, it still bricks. Most of these decks still brick to a degree, and that's how this format is. It's very much either I'm going to explode or I'm going to pass and say go and be very passive until I can make my move. I've seen it happen with my own eyes. Now, Mega Monarchs with the Super Quantum Engine, if you're curious about it, it's like 3 tellies, 1 of the blue and 2 of the red. That's the easiest way to break down that deck for you. But Mega Monarchs is going to be the number 1 deck to beat this format, and this is my opinion. Share yours down below. I didn't include Sideframe because once you know how to beat Sideframe's not that hard. I didn't include Despots because, again, outdone by everything else on this list. I'm just still a little trying to catch up and all fuzzy about what I'm trying to say. But Monarchs have the ability to disrupt you on your opponent on your turn. They have the ability to tribute your monsters. They have the ability to screw you over constantly. So again, Monarchs, best deck in my opinion. Share yours down below, and thanks for watching. As always, new top 10s are usually published on Wednesdays when I'm on track. I'm not sure if this is coming out on Wednesday. I'm not sure if it's coming out on Friday or over the weekend, but it's going to be coming out. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe for more. I'm ready for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Council. I'll see you